Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a new playthrough series. And again, you're seeing a title from Flying Frog Productions. We've been having so much fun bringing these games to the channel and hope you guys have been really digging them. So this one is Conquest of Planet Earth, a space alien game published in 2010. You've seen some of our other playthroughs recently. I did a Touch of Evil during October for Horror Games Month. Doug did Fortune and Glory, the Cliffhanger game. Recently, we also had some Shadows of Brimstone action that we played, and then early there this year, I had brought out the Dark Gothic deck building game. So we've been going through their catalog and bringing out stuff for you guys to see, and I hope that you guys will be digging this one because it's been a long time since I've played this one. It's been a long time since I've seen anybody really talking about it or doing any videos about this game. So I thought, man, it'd really be fun to bring this out. So this one is set in like the 1950s, like sci-fi era. So if you're thinking War of the Worlds or any of those movies where people were running in fear because they were afraid that the aliens were coming, the Martians were coming to take over the planet, that's what this game is all about. Now, in this particular game, we're going to be playing the cooperative phase, or cooperative mode of this game. And each of the three players, we're playing a three-player game, will be representing a different alien race. They will be working together to spread terror and take over the planet Earth. But we will not be met without resistance, so we will have to face off against what the humans have in store for us. So what I'm going to do in this game is I'm going to go through the setup, because it's probably been a while since anybody has seen this one, and I wanted to go over how the game is set up, and then we're going to actually play through a complete game playing in the cooperative mode. So the first thing that we will need to do is to set up our game board, and it's going to vary based upon the number of players. So if we were only playing a like a two-player game, this configuration would be slightly different. It would be more like this, where you have a center location and you have the two players on either side. But in a three-player game, we actually will turn it like this, and we have this location like that. A third player would be here. A fourth player would actually have another board on the other side. So set it up like this. Now, if we look at one of these player boards, we will have this space in the middle that says Conquest of Planet Earth. And this is going to be our landing site. And if you see the numbers around the side of the board, those are going to be used for determining random locations for resistance counters and things where spaces are going to possibly be demolished. So we have different things. That is how this space operates. So this here is never really considered a location. It's a landing site for our aliens. As part of setup, then during we have a center location, and we will place a two-sided location tile that's down there. We either can play with the capital city, which is what they recommend when you're starting off, or the historic monument once you have a really good idea of how the game plays and you wanted to have a little bit of variety. When we look at these cards, though, there's a few different things. Over in the corner, there are going to be these icons, and they are representative of different things. This icon on the bottom means that it is a city, and we also have this one with an exclamation point, meaning that this is an objective. Now, there is a way in the rules that you could make the game a little bit more challenging, which is what we will do, is when the players we have to cooperatively accumulate a total of 24 terror points in a three-player game. It's 8 terror points per player in order for the aliens to win the game. That we will have to conquer this capital city. So 5 of the terror points that we need for winning the game will have to come from the capital city. So when we look at the bottom, this is the population and how much terror this is worth. So this is worth 5 terror points. Also at the bottom, we have this number that's in a shield. This represents the number of, this is like our resistance and how many battles, separate battles, we will have to win in order to conquer this space. And then many of the locations will have additional text box down at the bottom that will have some sort of effect. For here, it says resistance here are +2 to their strength total. And we'll talk about resistance when they come out on the board. So we have done that. We've placed our objective location. We also have gone through and shuffled up all of our card decks. And I wanted to talk about this. I have this Hold It game card organizer by Innovatium. I know that Doug has been asked about these before. In fact, I saw them on his channel. I ended up getting some. These you can actually purchase on Amazon, and if you look on the top, there's a number of locations for all of your card decks. There's one spot for like oversized cards. These are really, really awesome because you can create your own discard piles for each of these different card decks. So we have these events. And I'm going to talk about these in a second, but we have event cards, we have our locations, which will come out on the board. We have space stuff, which is things that the aliens can get to give them advantages. We also have our resistance deck, and this is going to be where the humans are going to fight back against us. We don't know what's in here. We'll have to see what the humans have in store for us. And then also human technology. These humans have the ability to scientifically develop things that are going to keep us away. So we hopefully don't want them to have this human tech. Now, back to the event cards. In a cooperative game, there are two different types of cards that make up the event deck. We have some of them that just have the regular text on the bottom, and we have some of them that have this red text box. So in a cooperative game, we will need to separate the event cards into two different piles. So all of the ones that have the red text box are going to go into a separate event pile, and they will create what's called the human resistance event deck. So I have them shuffled up, and I have them placed next to this resistance phase board, which we will get to shortly. So we have all of our card decks are going to be shuffled up, and now we are going to draw our alien races and see what we'll end up playing with. So I have this stack of alien tiles, and I've just been making, shuffling them around. I have no idea what they are, so I'm just going to go through and grab one. One just fell out on the floor, so I guess we're going to use that one. We'll see what we have. All right, we have the Menthalars, and these will be over on the left screen. They will be represented by red UFO tokens and red conquest markers. So here's a UFO token, and here are the red conquest markers, and they will be rolling red dice in this game. So the game comes with red and white dice. You can use the red for the aliens and the white for the resistance, or vice versa, however you're playing. But for the sake of this playthrough, I actually have additional colored dice for the different colors of players. So I have blue dice for the blue player and yellow dice for the yellow ones. But anyways, we have the Menthalars. We'll meet them shortly. And we'll have the next one. We will have the Foam Guild Mages. These will be the blue player right in the center. And then over on the right, we will have the last one is the Viborian Arbiters. So, and we'll get to them shortly as well. So they are the yellow players. So those are the three alien races that we will be playing in this particular game. And we will take their UFO pieces and we will place them on to the landing sites in their respective boards. So here we have, we're populating the board with all of our UFOs, or flying saucers, whatever you want to call them. And we finally have the yellow ones over on this side. So we're actually going through step by step. Now we have our counters that we will be using. And so I have, these are alien menace tokens. Some of those 5s that are in there come from the Apocalypse expansion, but I am not using any of that stuff during our gameplay. And each player is going to start off with one of their alien menace tokens. And then let's go through and look at each of our alien races, and we will discuss what all the stats mean and what they're going to start off with. So when we look at any of the alien races, they have 2 stats that we're going to be concerned about. We have their strength and we have their intelligence. The strength is going to be how much each of these tokens are going to bring when they are in a battle. So in this case, they are worth 2 strength each. The intelligence level is going to be how many event cards they will be able to have in their hand to be able to use. So the Menthalars are actually quite intelligent with an intelligence of 5. So what they will do at the start of the game is they will draw 5 event cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these will form their starting hand. And so we'll look at those briefly. And they also have some special abilities on them. So this says Sinister. You may pay 1 fewer action points than normal to play any event card that has an action point cost to play. Minimum of 1. We'll take a look at that shortly. Also, it costs the Menthalars 1 fewer action point than normal to buy an Alien Menace token during their turn. Okay. We'll talk about how we spend action points after we meet all of our aliens and we get ready to play. And then they also have this ability where they can spend 2 of their Alien Menace tokens for mind control. To mind control the humans to do your bidding, draw the top resistance card and add its strength to your alien's strength total for 1 fight round. If it's a hero, draw an additional resistance as normal. So this is really cool. We can actually use the humans to fight against themselves. We can take over their minds and we can add them to our battling. So that's going to be really cool. Let's take a look at their event cards that we have. And if we look at this, we'll have these events. This one says play during your action phase to gain +2 action points. We have another one, this Martian Recon. Play to force any location card just drawn to be immediately discarded and redrawn. We have another one, We Come in Peace. Play during the first fight of a battle to allow the aliens to automatically win that fight. This must be played before fight dice are rolled. Okay, that's going to be good against possibly a bigger alien. And we have All Part of the Master Plan. Play during your action phase to gain +2 action points. So we already have 2 of those cards. And then we have play this one here, Battle Frenzy. Play to force any aliens or resistance to re-roll their fight dice just rolled. Okay, that's pretty good. So those are the Menthalars. Next, let's take a look at the Foam Guild Mages. I'm going to move the camera over. And we'll zoom in and take a look at their ability. And you can see them set up in the middle. So we have they have a strength of 2 and an intelligence of 4. So they're going to start off with 4 event cards, and let's look at their abilities. So they have this Masters of Magic. So at the start of each of their turns, they're going to roll a d6, and on a roll of 4, 5, or 6, they're going to gain an Alien Menace token. And then they have this Necromancy ability where they can use one of their Alien Menace tokens, like one of these, to choose any soft resistance card out of the discard pile and add its strength to your alien strength total for 1 fight. Okay, well, when we get into the actual battles and seeing the resistance, there are hard and soft targets, and they'll have different colored borders on them, and you'll see them when we get to them. The other thing is they can spend 3 for a Warp Blast. Use 3 Alien Menace tokens to automatically score a crushing victory in a fight. That could be really useful against some of our more powerful human resistance. So that's the Foam Guild Mages. Let's draw their events, see what they have. So 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. We'll take those into our hand. We have a Diplomatic Withdrawal. Play when 1 or more aliens would be destroyed at a location. Instead, return all aliens from that location back to their landing site. This is a way to do a quick retreat. This could actually be useful on the board if they're far from their landing site to be able to pull back. We have, what is that thing? Now here, this is a cost. This was cost 1 action point to play this event card. So choose any player, including yourself, to immediately gain D3 Alien Menace tokens. So this is where the Menthalars actually would get a discount, and they'd actually be able to play that card for free. We also have Gear Up. They can use an action point to draw a Space Stuff card. Space Stuff is neat. And then we also have the Spoils of Conquest. Play when your aliens win a fight to immediately draw a Space Stuff card. Limit 1 victory card per fight. So these guys can actually start accumulating some space stuff rather quickly with their starting cards. And then finally, let's go over and look at the Viborian Arbiters. So we look at the Viborian Arbiters. They have a strength of 3 and an intelligence of 4. And they have ruthless enforcement. You may use any demolished location as a landing site as long as there is no enemy aliens present. So if for some reason the humans are able to drop an atomic bomb for instance, and demolish a location, we could actually use that as a landing site to be able to bring reinforcements on the board. So that could be useful. Even though bad things can happen to the board, we can use it to our advantage. They also live for destruction. Anytime a Viborian Arbiter is at a demolished location except during a fight, they may place a conquest marker there. And Viborian Arbiters are +1 terror point for each demolished location they control with a conquest marker. So that's going to be cool, being able to use demolished locations to their advantage, because when a location is demolished, they become worth 0 terror points. So we don't really want to see these on the board, but with the Viborian Arbiters on there, we could use that. And then finally, they can use 1 of their terror points, or menace points, to demolish a location with population 1 or less, where you have a Viborian Arbiter present. Any active fight there must still resolve. So that is actually pretty good, because we can start taking maybe some worthless locations and use them to our advantage. So these guys are going to be quite interesting to play with. I don't think I've ever played with these guys. And they're going to start off with 4 event cards. So let's see what we have. We have 1 where they can feed on the dead, and so they can play 2, and then they have terror points, and this would remain in play. So they could actually use this card to give us 1 of our 24 terror points that we are required to win the game. We also have another one of those Spoils of Conquest where they can draw a space stuff card. We have another Feeding on the Dead. That's pretty good. So we've got 2 of those. And then we have this Battle Frenzy where they can force aliens or resistance to re-roll dice. So we have some similar cards as the other players that we have in play. So we've done all of that. We've got all of our starting event cards. Let's see what's next. So there's a couple of things that we need to be concerned about when it comes time for the cooperative game. And so we have this resistance phase card that we're going to be putting in play, and we can choose either to play the normal resistance, or we can choose to play the brutal resistance. We're going to play normal for this particular game, and then when we have a resistance phase, we will follow the steps that are on the card, and we'll go over those during the gameplay. But there's also this track along the bottom, this human tech track. This is going to keep track of the rounds of the game. It's going to go no more than 10 rounds, because if there's like the danger donut, and I'll show you that marker, ever reaches number 10, then the humans have built this ginormous space cannon and blow us out of the sky. As we move along, though, there are spaces with the red. Whenever we move on to those, we will have reinforcements coming on the board, and then also this other number that is down in the triangle is the number of dice that we will be able to roll for tech breakthrough. There is, and that is for the humans to be able to develop technology. And these human tech cards that you saw in the deck, those are really, really nasty. Now, I'm going to play with an additional rule that if there are any unconquered tech locations on the board, that the humans will gain an additional roll for tech breakthrough. So, and I will go over those icons if we see a location like that. Now, the other thing with a cooperative game is we need to place some starting resistance counters on the board that we will have to go up against. And the way that this works is we will roll for a random location in each of the player boards, and then there will be 2 tokens that will come out on the center board, the objective board, where the capital city is. So I'm going to bring a die here, and I will roll a d6, and it will show us what location each one is going to have counters on. So we'll start off over by the Menthalars, and there is a number 6. So I have all of our resistance tokens are in this bag. I'm just going to shake them up, and I'll pull one out, and we'll place it where the number 6 points to. So we actually have some infantry. Now, if we look at this token, there's a red border around it, so this means that this is a soft target, and they have a strength of 3. Now, right now, I don't think I have anything that's going to pertain to soft or hard targets. Some of the other races do, but this is one of the things that we will be concerned about. Actually, the Foam Guild Mages will have something that affects soft targets. But we will place this where the number 6 is, and along the board, the number 6 places points to that space there. Now, for the center board, we will look for our where our resistance counters go there. We rolled a 6, which will be, if we take this off, the 6 is here. We have the paratroopers, so they get a crushing victory on a 5 or 6. So they're a little bit tougher. Even though they don't have a lot of strength, they can actually have a crushing victory easier. A crushing victory is when you roll a 6 on there. If you roll a crushing victory, you will automatically win that fight, even if you did not have more strength than your opponent. And the other one we rolled is a 2, and so the 2 is right here. And we have jet fighters. They're a strength 7, and they can actually move. So during the resistance phase, they will move around the board and see what kind of problems they're going to cause for everybody else. Finally, over by the Viborian Arbiters, we actually have a 5 there, so we'll put a token out for them. They have Rangers. They win on ties. And finally, the Foam Guild Mages, we rolled a 4, and they have an infantry there as well. So I think that that is pretty much all we need to have for our setup. Everybody has their starting event cards, which we can look at. We have all of our starting pieces on the board. Next, when we move into playing, what we will do is roll for our number of action points that we're going to have for our players each turn. During the competitive game, each player has a set of command points that they can use, and they have tokens that they'll be able to do. During a cooperative game, we will actually roll for them. So if you hear me say command points or action points, it basically means the same thing. So what I will do is roll a die for each of our players. So I will use colored dice for each of the alien races, and we will see what happens. Whoever has the lowest number of command points will go first. So we have the Foam Guild Mage rolled a 1, the Viborian Arbiters 2, and the Menthalars rolled a 3. So that's not very good, starting off with not very many action points. Now, as compensation for rolling the 1, the Foam Guild Mage gains a menace token for their troubles, and they may choose to re-roll and to see if they can get more action points, but they have to take this result even if it's a 1. And they rolled a 3, so they will take that. Actually, having 2 more action points would be much better. So the player with the lowest number of command points will be the first player, which will be the Viborian Arbiters, so they will have the start player token for this round. All right. When we get to our Arbiters, you're like, what can we do on our turn? Well, that's really neat because they have a nice player reference card. So we will have our command points or our action points that we can use during our action phase. And what we will do is we can spend those points to do different things. So we have an action point to move an alien 1 space or return 1 destroyed alien back to your landing site. We can also spend 2 action points to gain an alien menace token, or this X action points each to play an event card for whatever that cost is. So these are the things that we can do during our action phase, which is what we will do first. Now, we could choose to spend our action points to move, or we could actually place an event card into play that would give us terror points, or we can play any of the other things. I think at this point, though, we want to start dealing with some of our adversaries on the board. We have those Rangers behind us, and I think that we need to deal with them. So we will spend both of our action points. We'll spend 1 action point to move 1 of our ships there, the other action point to move the other one there, and we will now have an encounter with those Rangers. Now, once we're in that space, we need to draw a location to see what's underneath there and how it's going to affect everything. So we have the National Monument is there, and it is going to be worth 2 terror points. We will have 1 fight that we will have to deal with in order to take this over. The other thing is resistance here are +1 to their strength total. So right now we have the Rangers are a 4. They have a +1 modification, so now they are a 5 on that turn. So, and we have 2 of our ships that are a strength of 3 each. So 3 + 3 is 6, so we have 6 to 5. And we will be rolling additional die to see what kind of additional strength that we have for our fights, and we will add them to the results. So, what's going to happen now is the Rangers will take their 5 and they'll add another 5 to their score. They have a 10 opposed to us, where we will only have 6 + 1 is 7. So we will actually lose this battle, and one of our ships will be destroyed. Now, during the fight round, I can choose to have this one stay in the fight, or they can retreat to another location. The Arbiters, I'm not sure if they're going to want to try to encounter another space by themselves. I think at this point they will choose to retreat over to the back to their landing space. So the Rangers are going to stay there, and unfortunately we have not been able to conquer the National Monument on their turn. So that will be it for the Viborian Arbiters. Coming down to the Foam Guild Mages, on their turn they will, at the start of each of their turns, they will roll a d6, and on the roll of 4, 5, or 6 they will gain a token. So let's see what we have here. We'll roll, and they rolled a 5, so they will gain a menace token. So they actually have 2 alien menace tokens on their space. And let's see what else we have that we can do. All right, so we have our 3 action points, and I believe that we will choose to take 2 of them and move into this space with the infantry, and our third one we will move over into this space to try to explore. So, starting with where the infantry is, we will have an encounter there, or battle phase, and we have the Hydroelectric Dam. Okay, so this is a tech location, and it's also a water location, and the other icon is that this is a power location. It's worth 1 terror point. We'll have 2 encounters there, and it says, if demolished, roll a d6 for every adjacent location. It is also demolished on the roll of 3+. Okay, hopefully this won't get demolished, but if so, then the Viborian Arbiters, this would be a location for them to want to come over and try to salvage. So we'll place this here, and we have to first deal with the infantry that are there. So they have a strength of 3, and our 2 ships there will give us a total strength of 4. So we're going to roll and see what happens during that fight. Hopefully we'll do good. Alright, so we rolled a 3 and a 3, so we're actually going to scrape by with a total score of 7 to 6. So the infantry counter is removed, and it will actually go back into our pool of resistance counters. Now, while we're at the dam, in order for us to be able to conquer this space, we actually have to have two fights to win this battle, so and be able to take this over. So the first one, we will draw a resistance card and see what it says. So we have an angry mob, and they just have a strength of 1. And they're a soft target, so we have our strength of 4 against 1. We still have to roll, because if the mob can roll a crushing victory, they can still defeat us, even though we have an advantage. So let's see what we rolled. So they rolled a 4, and we rolled a 2, so we'll actually have 2, 4, 6, 6 to 5. So with an advantage of just 1, we were able to defeat this angry mob. So that's the first battle that we were successful at. We have one more that we need to take care of, and we have this U.S. Army artillery. So they have a barrage. At the start of each fight round, roll a d6 for each alien in the same and adjacent spaces that alien is destroyed on the roll of 1 or 2. All right, so here's the fight round. So the first roll, first I have to do is roll for these two guys to see if they are going to be destroyed. Hopefully not, but a roll of 1 or 2 they are. I rolled a 6 and a 1, so one of them is destroyed, unfortunately. God! You know, and if you guys have watched any of my playthroughs, you already know that I do not have very good luck with dice rolling, so that's one of them. And then the one that's on the space on our landing site, let's see what happens to them. We rolled a 3, so they are okay. All right, so coming into this battle, let's see if we have any of our action cards that we can play that can save us. We could actually use our necromancy to take this angry mob and add our strength to it. But right now it's 4 against 2. And let's see. I don't really want to play this diplomatic withdrawal because it says I could have used this now. Play when one or more of your aliens would be destroyed at a location. Instead, return all aliens from that location back to the landing site. No, because then I'd have to roll for them again to possibly be destroyed. So I'll just leave them go for right now. And then, so let's see. We could choose to spend 1. Well, it's only 1 strength. I don't know if I want to use that for the necromancy. Let's just see what happens. Maybe we'll be able to roll and be able to defeat the artillery. So we have our strength 2 against the artillery is a 4. We rolled a 3. So we have a 3 and a 1. We have a tie, actually. So we have 2 plus 3 is 5, 4 plus 1 is 5. So in a tie, we're going to have another fight round. So we're going to roll again, see what happens for this. And I rolled a 2 for us and a 1 for the resistance. And we're actually going to lose that battle of 6 to 3. So they are actually, we have lost that battle as well. So unfortunately, we were not able to take over the Hydroelectric Dam. And so this will actually go away. And we are coming across now with only one of our ships still in our landing space. And we have this other location that we will also have to encounter. So we draw a location for that. And it is a forest. And it is really worth nothing. There's going to be no resistance there. And there's worth no terror points. And so we will not have an encounter there either. So let's move on to the Menthalars. All right, so these guys have 3 action points, and we're not going to be messing around. Don't want to deal with these infantry. They don't have a really great strength. They only have a strength of 2, so they're going to use all 3 of their points to move their ships into this infantry and have to take care of them. So let's draw a location and see what we have there. We have just rolling hills, so nothing else there except for this infantry unit that we have to deal with. So they have a strength of 3 against our strength of 6, so we will roll for a battle there. See what we come up with. So we'll roll. Whoop! It popped out. So we have a 3, and the infantry has a 2, so we have 2, 4, 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 to 5, we will remove this infantry token from the board. So we have, we've been able to clear that out. I don't know if we have any cards that will allow us to gain any additional abilities because of that. So for playing for victories or anything like that, I don't think so. No, we don't. So anyways, that will be the end of our player phase. Let's move on to the resistance phase. So looking at the board, the first thing that we have to do for our resistance phase is draw a resistance event. So we'll take one of those, and the location on the board with the most aliens, at least 2, is targeted by an atomic bomb as described above. If more than 1 are tied, all are targeted. Okay, so the location with the most aliens on there. All right, well, fortunately, a landing site is not considered a location, so it's just considered a space. So our rolling hills are going to be demolished. So so it says that playing on any space, any aliens there are instantly destroyed. Place a demolished marker on that space. So the Menthalars were just wiped out. So all 3 of theirs are going to come off the board, and we'll place a demolished token there. So now resistance there are +1 to their strength total, and now it's worth 0. That space was really not worth anything anyways, but it's now been demolished. But that means that the Viborian Arbiters can actually use that space, so that's pretty good. But the Menthalars just got annihilated. They weren't going to be messing around. They went in heavy against the infantry. The humans have decided to resist with an atomic bomb, so they're gone. The next step that we have is to check for location liberation. Remove the conquest marker from any location with their resistance counter and no aliens present. Now, had we had a conquest marker on this space behind the Arbiters over here, we would have removed it because we have Rangers in that location, but we were not able to conquer that space before. So unfortunately, there has been no liberation. Now we're going to move the human tech track marker from 0 to 1, and the 1 is a red space. So look up here, it's a red space, meaning that we will add 1 resistance counter to each of the boards. So starting off with where the Menthalars are, I will roll a random location to see where we place a counter at, and we place it on a 4. So number 4 is here. We have some paratroopers. The capital city, we will roll for that. They rolled a 1, so we have a helicopter that moves here. They actually get a +1. They're a strength of 4. They get +1 per alien. And now the space for the Viborian Arbiters, they have a 2, which is right here. They will have paratroopers also. And finally, where the foam guild mages are, we'll roll that. And we rolled, a 4. And the 4 is where the Hydroelectric Dam is, so now they will have some tanks that have moved into there. So that's just wonderful. So they've just moved in with reinforcements. The next thing is we'll have any resistance move. So any resistance counter with the move ability moves to a random space on the same board. So the only one that has the move ability right now are the jet fighters up on the capital city. So we will roll to see what they do, and they're going to move to location number 5. So 5 is here, so the jet fighters just moved to that spot over there. Had they moved into another space with another token, they would have pushed that other token into the capital city, and for each resistance marker that's there, they get +2 to their strength total. So that was we're fortunate enough that the jet fighters just flew over the capital city doing a patrol. They didn't move to anywhere else. Now, finally, we have to roll for a tech breakthrough, and we're at a level 1 for the humans right now. So they're going to roll 1d6, and if they manage to roll a 6, they will have developed human technology card, and they will be able to bring that out and use it against us. And we rolled a 1, so good. They were not successful in being able to do that. So that's it for the first round of the Conquest of Planet Earth. I hope you guys have enjoyed this playthrough. So far, we only are just getting started, but lots more actions can be coming, lots more dice rolling, lots more randomness, all that good stuff, all set in this 1950s theme. So you guys, let me know, what do you think of the alien races that we have? What are some of your favorite alien races if you've played Conquest of Planet Earth? All right, and also, please, if you guys really are enjoying these videos, please do us a favor. Like the videos so we know that this is the content that you guys want to see. Also, if you're not a subscriber at this point, subscribe. You know, we've put out lots and lots of cool stuff. We have lots of plans for even more stuff that we're going to bring to the channel, so we want you to do that. And then also, you know what, hit the bell, the notification, so that you know that when we put stuff out, you can be one of the first ones to watch it, get in and join in the conversation about these videos. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.